Hello everybody. Welcome back for another video. Hope you're all doing great. Hope you're all doing well. Hope you're all doing fantastic and that you're all having a great day. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter and on Facebook. There are links in the description below. And without any further ado, let's jump right into it. Once again, I don't know how they're doing it. There must be some kind of a team behind the scenes who's figuring out what they need to do, what they need to say, because they continue to ever remain in the news. Microstrategy is back once again talking about Litecoin. That was a joke because they're always talking about Bitcoin. Yeah, this one turned a lot of heads, and I mean, we could have logically seen that this was going to happen, but you know, people were still shocked. Microstrategy is positioning itself to transform, they say, how capital is preserved and transferred globally, according to a new report by, I don't know if it's Bernstein or Bernstein. I'm going to say Bernstein Research. And the company's outspoken co-founder, Michael Saylor, says that MicroStrategy is actually trying to become a Bitcoin bank with a potential $1 trillion valuation. Let me try and back it up for you one little tiny bit. So, I would not specifically call myself a crypto purist. Neither would I call myself a Bitcoin maximalist. It's more of I'm a Bitcoin understanderist. Like, Bitcoin is Bitcoin. It's the number one coin for a reason, and all the institutions are buying it. That's kind of where I stand, you know. It's a very right. The other part is that a lot of cryptocurrency companies recently have kind of been saying really weird things. I'm certain that Michael Saylor also was like that the US should own like half of all the Bitcoin that's out there, which doesn't make any sense because then it's not decentral. Like, that's not how any of that should actually work. He's also said a bunch of really interesting things over the years, but there's too many to count. The odd part about this is that, now I'm going to be kind of clear here. Me and you, we technically no longer need banks. Now, I know that sounds crazy. I know it sounds a bit off. But this has been and was more so a major topic of discussion years ago when people actually cared about decentralization. All that banks do is hold your money for you and then charge you for the bank account that you have and then take money from you every month and or, you know, whatever. That's a whole other topic of discussion. The system that we have with crypto is that you can hold your own crypto. I know a lot of people don't feel excessively comfortable with that. Got it. And then we also have crypto exchanges, which are like de facto banks, if you will. They are, but not quite. The idea of a Bitcoin bank kind of defeats the purpose of Bitcoin, because you would basically, and I mean this, you know, this Bitcoin bank has a wide range of, you'll hear, he has a lot of ideas for what he wants it to be. It doesn't really make a lot of sense, very similar to Visa and MasterCard. Visa, don't forget, said that they're trying to incorporate Ethereum into their systems because if you want to send any Ether, they want you to send it to Visa first. They want you to make a profile on their website, deposit your Ether, and then say who you're trying to send it to. It'll go from Visa to another party, a third party, potentially a fourth party, as they said, for counter risk or whatever. And then it'll finally get to the person who it's supposed to go to. Very similar to a bank, as opposed to you just getting the wallet address from your friend and sending them the money directly on chain, which is far more secure. You miss like 3 extra steps and you don't have to pay Visa or MasterCard a fee for what you're trying to do. So upon hearing that Microstrategy, who is forever popular because they buy Bitcoin, is looking to become a Bitcoin bank, the masses cheered because they no longer care about the idea of decentralization or not having to have a banking system. Because I'll spoil a little bit of it for you. The Bitcoin bank that he wants to make is the same as a normal bank, but with Bitcoin. So it'll range around debt and collateral, and it'll have derivatives and a bunch of other things, which basically like fractionalizes Bitcoin and also creates an excess amount of paper Bitcoin, which is the system that we're trying to get away from. A lot of the Bitcoin maximalists in the space have kind of this year shown their true colors, if you will, by basically announcing a whole bunch of like initiatives for things that they're trying to create or do that go against the entire ethos of what Bitcoin and blockchain actually are. However, when you throw in the words MicroStrategy and Michael Saylor, Bitcoin and $1 trillion valuation, people roll their eyes. They don't care. They care nothing about decentralization as long as they think that this man right here can in some way, shape, or form make them richer. Bring us back to the old system, they say. We don't care about the future. Bernstein has rated MicroStrategy as outperform with a price target of 290, reflecting a 39% upside from its current price of $209, according to Google Finance. For some reason, MicroStrategy stock has been heavily in the crypto news. About 2 days ago, there was an article discussing, for those of you who missed it, I think their stock has gone up by, was it 1,300% or something like that, since they announced that they would be getting into Bitcoin. The report states that MicroStrategy's significant investment in Bitcoin is the key driver behind this optimistic projection. It feels like the only reason, I mean, if we can be honest, I think the only reason why they actually got into Bitcoin is because they wanted to get in early. Got it. But this was probably a plan the entire time. If you can corner the market, if you can have hundreds of billions of dollars worth of Bitcoin as the price continues to rise, yeah, why not keep the old system intact, but just put the word Bitcoin in front of it? MicroStrategy gained attention for the large-scale Bitcoin acquisition since 2020. The company has accumulated 252,200 Bitcoin, worth around $15.8 billion at the time of writing. That's, once again, let's add some decimal places. That's 100,000. It's $250 million, if not more, people who will never be able to own fractions of Bitcoin. And I know some of you aren't good at math because I've seen you screaming at me before in the comment section. There's enough Bitcoin for everyone. That's not how supply and demand works. That's not how 21 million works. Like, it's just not, like, I can show you, like, that's not how the numbers work. The more these companies buy, the less there is for everyone else. We are setting ourselves up to be in the same exact system that we currently are, but with Bitcoin. Because everyone's going to figure it out far too late that they should have been buying, and then these companies will be worth trillions of dollars. There was a news article. I've never been incapable of rolling my eyes hard enough. There was a news article a couple of days ago. Swooning. If English is not your first language, the word swoon might be weird. Getting excited. A bunch of news articles getting excited about the idea that Elon Musk might become the world's first trillionaire. If you're in, so let me, and I'll say this as nice as possible, then we'll move on. If you're into Bitcoin, just for the money, I need you to close your ears for this one. Everyone else who's actually here for Bitcoin and the idea of like Bitcoin revolutionizing the world, you should understand that the idea of a billionaire, actually, like, billionaires should not exist. I know it hurts some of you when you have dreams of becoming Elon Musk's left shoe or something like that and you want to hang around him. If you get a chance, there are videos on YouTube. Like, look up what it takes to actually be a billionaire. And I don't mean like waking up at 8 in the morning or like jogging after you woke up and had a protein shake. Like, the amount of capital that you need to have and that you need to siphon off from the rest of the world is actually quite egregious. The idea of becoming a trillionaire means that our system is not only broken, but that it's going to collapse. The articles were discussing that he looks like he's well on his way to becoming a trillionaire. And I sit there sometimes and I go, it's a reflection of the news from crypto. When you hear about these companies buying tens of thousands of hundreds of thousands of Bitcoin, and then you hear that 4 to 6 million Bitcoin is probably lost and gone forever. And then people stand up and go, yeah, that rich person just got richer. The guy from Dell, buy Bitcoin, get richer to try and make me slightly richer. It's like, last point. I saw people before talking about a particular altcoin that they thought that someone or some company could have influence over to raise the price. The average person holding that coin has anywhere between like 500 to I think 2,000 of that coin. Like, you can see it on the metrics, on the wallets. You know, we keep talking about like whales are buying the entire supply. It's not Bitcoin, it's other coins. And basically, these people were cheering. They were like, yeah, I want this coin to go to $5 and $10 and to $15. And I was like, you're cheering for these people to become billionaires and trillionaires so that you can make $35,000. It's incredibly cringe. And then you wonder why. I mean, people stand up and tell rich people like, no, I want you to own everything. I want to have nothing, sir. What's that thing? Rich people. Oh gosh, what is it? Rich people have convinced poor people to talk down to other poor people, like on a ladder, basically, to make everyone beneath you feel bad for not having as much money because the people at the top are taking all the money from you. This is why we have Bitcoin. Like I said, sorry. Anyone covering their ears, uncover them. I know you can't hear me because you're covering your ears, but they'll get here eventually. The point of Bitcoin isn't centralization. It's literally decentralization in every single manner of the word. It's meant to be for 8 billion people and not for 16 different companies. And I even whittle it down to 8 companies who hold over 1 million of it. It's meant to be for you and your friends and your family so that we can move to a brand new system. Not continue the old system by saying that we're rich enough to make a Bitcoin bank. Deposit your coins here. Let's keep the old system going. But now we can say Bitcoin because Bitcoin's new and it's revolutionary. I know I sound cynical. I know, like, you have to understand, like, the world has to change. So many people are just in crypto for a quick buck. And that's why I keep saying, like, you're going to lose if you're here for that. This is changing the world, and it's going to take over the world. And so many people get into the market, they make a tiny profit, they sell their coins, and then they go, well, I just lost my job. I don't have a home. I don't have any of this. I can't afford that. I can't do so-and-so. And it's like, well, you know, there we go. It's such a weird market to be in. So many people here are new to finance. So many people here are whatever. Like, you need to care about what you're actually in. This is why I always say, like, when I say do your own research, I'm not talking about just like, you know, look up what I was telling you. Like, learn, why is Bitcoin important? Why are people like Andreas Antonopoulos like still being spoken about? Why does all of this stuff matter? Why is the economy so bad right now? How can we fix that? We have the system to get away from all of it, but no one seems to care. Everyone just wants Bitcoin to go to 200K so that they can buy a Lamborghini and then wonder why they're broke 3 years later. No one's paying attention. Like, retail's not paying attention. These people are, I'm not here to re-rant again about this topic, but it's like, you're hungry and there's food on the table and you're like, I don't have an appetite for that. And it's like, okay, eventually there's only crumbs because they've taken all the cake, they've taken all the pie, they've taken all the food. You go, oh, well, now there's only crumbs. Well, I hope that there's a new system, a newer system put in place besides Bitcoin. And it's like, you're making yourself miss out all the time. It's so frustrating. During an event hosted by Bernstein, Saylor explained the rationale behind Microstrategy's embrace of Bitcoin. He said, "We saw Bitcoin as a big tech monetary network like Google for money or Facebook for money." That's literally the words that he said. Microstrategy's broader vision is to evolve into a Bitcoin bank, Saylor said, creating capital market instruments tied to Bitcoin that can be offered to investors. He said, "We are in the core business of creating Bitcoin capital market instruments across equity, convertible, fixed income, and preferred shares. This approach aims to give investors exposure to Bitcoin's price movements while offering various risk-adjusted instruments. The idea is, for those of you who didn't get it, to keep the old system intact, but put Bitcoin in front of it. Have a bunch of derivatives, have a whole bunch of people in debt against their Bitcoin." We were talking about that, like, this is 2 months ago. I think it was Coinbase and one other company. They're talking about Bitcoin lending. This is going to be a major thing in the future. The idea is that people like getting in debt. People want to be in debt, and they'll definitely do it for and with Bitcoin. And the idea is, if you have Bitcoin, you can lend out your Bitcoin to people who want to get into debt and keep the old system going. The point of Bitcoin and the point of blockchain is that you don't have any debt. What you have is what you have. You can't fake it and say that I have 85 more Ether than you actually do. I can look at your address and I can see how much crypto is there. When you create derivatives, when you create securitized versions of Bitcoin, you can create whatever you want. There's no rules and laws for it. Or actually there are, and they're very lenient. This is the problem that we have with banks. They can say that they have whatever money that they have, and they can create money at will, even without them actually having that money. They can lend out your money, and they can tell you that you can't have your money because that's how the banking system works. So everyone trying to keep this system in place is only going to, like, do you understand what's going to happen if Bitcoin takes over? Do you understand how rich these people are going to be? They will be the harbingers, the people at the top of the mountain of this new system that billions of people don't have any of. Can you imagine a world, and I know you can because that's the world that we have right now. Imagine a world where there are 4 billion people who have nothing. There are currently 3 people on this planet who have as much money as 4 billion people. Now crunch that number really tight for Bitcoin. How many big whales are there? How much Bitcoin are they already holding? What happens when we move over to a Bitcoin standard? What happens to 6 billion people? Because some of you are sitting there, you're going, well, I'll be fine because I have 0.01 Bitcoin. And some of you don't have any Bitcoin. What do you think is going to happen to you economically and monetarily? What happens to your neighbors and your grandparents who have none? None. Don't have a drop because everyone's not paying attention. He's not my friend anymore. But this guy I know, he told me years ago, he's like, he said until he was blue in the face, trying to convince his girlfriend, his cousins, family members, parents, nieces, nephews, everyone to buy some Bitcoin. This is years ago. He was like, no one's listening to me. So you know what he started doing? He started buying some for them. They don't know it yet. They have no idea. But he's like, what if it does go to like $5 million? What if it goes to $47 million like all these people are predicting in the next like 1, 2, 3, 4 decades? He's like, my family will have nothing. So I have to buy fragments for them to be able to like say, hey, we're not broke. Like here's some money. How many other people are even remotely thinking of that? There was a survey done years ago for people in crypto, and the vast majority basically were like, if my family doesn't have any, I'm not going to tell them that I have any. I'm going to disappear. I'm going to go to an island somewhere. What happens when you have one person who's worth $1 trillion and has more money than 60-70% of the planet? The word unethical doesn't even begin to describe it, but so many people don't talk bad about it because you think, your mind tells you because of propaganda that at some point you think you can be that rich. That's why people who are middle class and lower middle class keep making fun of people beneath them. You're broke. You don't have any money. You don't have what I have, as you get yourself further and further into debt, pretending for your neighbors who you don't even want to live next to. The system is made for us to be consumers, to consume, to never save. I told you that in another video, and the video before that, and the video before that. The point is, we're not supposed to have anything. We're not supposed to invest. We're supposed to, at the end of the month, have spent I'm not joking, spend all of our money on things that we're in debt in, on our rent, on our insurance, on our water, on our gas, and other things that we want to buy that keep popping up in ads everywhere on our phone. And we're supposed to be content. We're not supposed to have anything. That's why these companies keep getting richer and richer, because people keep feeding them money. Think of all the money that you've spent over the years, last 10, 20 years, depending on how old you are, on things that you didn't need. Food you bought that went to waste. Clothes you never wore. Things you gave away to the Goodwill because you're like, I'm being a good person, as opposed to being like, I should have never bought this in the first place. How many cars do you have? How often are you eating meals out? How in debt are you? Because the system keeps telling you to get more and more into debt. How much money do you not have? How much money could you have if you paid attention? How much wealthier would you be? That's why I keep saying, like, it's not too late. You can do this right now. You can start from this moment. You just have to lock in. You have to stop losing focus. Well, I'm gonna go buy this thing. I don't really need it, but whatever. I know people who've bought I'm not joking, the latest Xbox, a PS5, and a whole bunch of other stuff. They played with the thing for the first week and they don't touch it. It just sits there. The world is crazy. The world is like actually completely nuts. People were the amount of articles. He might be the first trillionaire. That's not a thing to celebrate. Why do you think things are bad now? Why? Because the rich people have all the assets. They dictate what rent is. There was a video. I'm sure you'll be able to find it. I don't know what. I can't even think of what words you would even type in. There's a company that they found, multiple actually, I think in Colorado, where they were wondering, these rent kept on rising at the exact same time across all these different apartments, in complexes everywhere. I think it was Colorado. And they had an investigation, and they found out normally what happens is that landlords, or even corporate landlords, will kind of, okay, I think this apartment will be $1,600. I'm going to say this one's $1,250. This one can be $1,545 a month. Every month or every year, they were going up by the exact same amount. They were all priced at the exact same way. They found out that these companies basically met and were working together to say okay, cool. So there's no price discrepancy. We're all going to raise our prices to $1,900, and no one can say no because we all have the exact same price. You can't go look somewhere else for something cheaper because we all have the same number. Like the world is shifting just for the rich. Do you wonder why so many people don't have money and don't have things? Like, it's all by design. It sounds crazy when you say it out loud because we've been taught to believe like, no, there's no way that all these companies, all these so-and-so would be working together. Rich people know other rich people. I tell you that all the time. When I meet up with people and I hear the conversations that they're having, it's literally, okay, we need to buy this many apartments and do so and so and so. Like it's all prepared. It's basically meant to crunch forever. When you own all the land, you can dictate and say who can rent it and what they can put on top of it and how much they owe you every single month. When you own all the apartments, studios, 1 bedrooms, 2 bedrooms, 3 bedrooms, all the houses, all the single family homes, you dictate who can live there and how much they pay you. When you own all the companies, when you own the majority of the stocks, you get the dividends. When you own all the Bitcoin, you control the Bitcoin. When you have all the money, like even though we see like money inflating, like the money is still being taken out of your pockets. How do you think you get to a $200 billion net worth? It doesn't appear out of thin air. Think about it. The money comes from you. You cheering. Watch a video on what it takes to make $1 billion, or even like visually how much $1 billion is. When you are worth 200 billion US dollars, that money has flown from your pockets into theirs. Where do you think it's coming from? If you get to $1 trillion net worth, you listening to this right now will be poorer. That money is coming from somewhere. Why do you think there's always like a thing where people are like, billionaires need to pay taxes? And then you have poor people being like, no new taxes. And it's like, you idiot. It's you. That's why you're poor. They took the money out of your pocket. Your tax rate is 38%, 42%. That's why your taxes are so high and that they can be worth 180 billion US dollars. People don't think. You cheer for rich people all the time without understanding that they're stealing from you. Do you understand? If you get a chance as well, Google how much money does the guy from Amazon, Jeff Bezos, how much money does Jeff Bezos make per hour? I showed it to my friend and she almost fell walking down the steps. The idea is that, well, I don't want to become poorer. There is a 0% chance if you are worth $1 billion that you are ever going to become poor. You know how much you would need to spend 100 million. I mean, it's literally impossible for you to become poor with a net worth of $1 billion. If you have $200 billion and you are making $30 billion per year, you're not going to be poorer if you even paid a 5 or a 10% tax. You're mathematically not, because your other assets will also continue to rise in value. And I know there's someone sitting here with their arms crossed and they're like, no, that's not how money works. Dude, you're broke. They've been lying to you your entire life. Your entire life, you've been led to believe that these people care about you. They don't. They want more money from you. And they're getting it. And they're getting richer. And your rent goes up. You can't afford your car. You go to the supermarket. You see that something has risen by 45 cents and you get upset. 45 cents? Think of that. Think of how fragile everything is, that people are getting upset with 45 cents because people know that something is wrong. It's estimated that it costs $6 billion per year to end world hunger. Think about that. If you took 6 billionaires like Captain Planet and they put their hands together and put $1 billion each per year, even if that was their only tax, they would end world hunger. Instead, they're buying yachts that have yachts inside of them. Do you understand how great the world could be? And then we have something like Bitcoin, which is meant to bring us into a new age. And people stand up and cheer when the rich people are buying all of it again. It's crazy, the mentality. It's, oh my gosh. The point was not to rant, I promise you. It was actually the word trillion that got me. It was really the word $1 trillion valuation. How do you think BlackRock got to $11 trillion in assets? Pay attention to when people are lying to you, when politicians are trying to tell you things just because they want essentially your vote. These people don't care about you. They want more money. You're constantly being lied to in every direction, and you refuse to wake up until you wake up and you have nothing. Save your money, invest your money, buy assets. Do whatever you can to weather the coming hurricane. It is not a storm. They're buying all the assets. I give it three weeks. We're going to hear from Microstrategy again that they're trying the last time, for those of you who missed it, they raised $1.2 billion and bought more Bitcoin. They're going to do it again. Then there'll be even less Bitcoin going around. I saw something on Twitter. People were reporting on the supply crunch, like how there's less and less Bitcoin on exchanges. And people were like, oh my gosh, how is this happening? And it's like, what? Are you in the same market that I'm in? Have you been paying attention at all? You just blissfully unaware, just not paying attention to everything that's going on in the world? All the Bitcoin accumulation, all the whale buying. There was something a couple days ago about the ETFs. Multiple days in a row had consecutive like mega inflows, like $114 million, $87 million. People like, yeah, Bitcoin's back. And it's like, what were you doing the last 2 years? Why do you get so excited when rich people buy stuff? You should be celebrating every time you buy an asset, every time you get richer. These people own everything and they're trying to own Bitcoin. You think you're going to love living in a world with a trillionaire and where about a good 400 people are holding the majority of Bitcoin. I got another thing coming for you. You are not going to enjoy it. It's so crazy. I wish there was a way to like get people to like snap and wake up. I mean like legitimately like I'd be happy with a good 100 million to 500 million people to really hear my words and be like, we got to do something. We got to buy some kind of Bitcoin so that people have something. I would feel better. I don't get it, dude. I sincerely don't get it. Whatever. All right. Well, that wasn't the intention. The intention was to talk about the MicroStrategy becoming a Bitcoin bank. But here we are. So hope you got something from it. Hope you have a good day. Hope you enjoyed. Thank you all once again for liking, watching, and subscribing. Talk to you all soon. See you.